Hey, hello everyone. My name is Chris Banks with Pyramid Analytics. It's a pleasure to be with you today in our Data to Insights in 15 Minutes webinar. I am joined today by one of our amazing SEs here at Pyramid Analytics. Calvin Fuss is with us. And today's topic, and I am so excited about this because it's how to enrich dashboards with advanced analytics. And it's so easy today to show a dashboard with all the different tools that are out in the marketplace, and giving the power of what, but what's more compelling is empowering your business users for the power of why. And that's what we're going to share with you today, and particularly around predictive analytics. If you're not aware of Pyramid Analytics, you're about to be aware of us. We have a decision intelligence platform that combines the very best of data prep, business analytics, and data science all from one platform. You know, you would think that many organizations are thriving today with all the data that they have, but there's still a challenge in becoming a data-driven organization. And what we're finding today is that many organizations are accessing less than 20% of the data inside their organization, and they're deploying analytics less than 20% of the users inside their organization. And our goal at Pyramid Analytics is to help organizations empower any user or any person inside their organization with any data inside the organization for any analytics needs that you could possibly have, and to take that 20% and let you grow exponentially with that, both on the data and adoption phase. That being said, let me introduce our superstar SC, Calvin Fuss. Why don't you take it from here?
Thank you, Chris. Hey guys, my name is Kelvin, and thank you so much for joining the session today. We will start with painting a bit of a picture in terms of what a citizen data scientist or someone who's head of BI in a BI team usually faces, and we'll jump into a demo on how to get things from data all the way to insights, and then use some of Pyramid's awesome features to actually understand and dive into the data to actually assimilate these insights and actually get some answers. So before we do that, let's just open up a nice pretty infographic while I talk. So the requirements for organizations to generate and analyze data is bigger than we've ever seen it before. Gathering insights and creating predictions on this large amount of data is an absolute humongous task if you're doing it manually. Data science algorithms automate this process by effectively mining the golden nuggets of insight under the forever growing mountain of data. In today's session, I'll portray the role of a citizen data scientist who knows what they want to ultimately achieve, but haven't got the time nor the technical knowledge to create data science algorithms from scratch. Me being being jumped around from left, right, and center in my data science team, I'm in a bit of a tough situation as I'm struggling to generate clear insights from the large amount of data my company is currently producing. My manager and other C-level board members are also putting my team and I under growing pressure to present accurate insights. And obviously, we've just hit a new year, and they are wanting answers to complex questions. And I'm finding my head is kind of going under the water. So the main questions they've asked is, let's run an affinity analysis to see if there are trends in quantities of products being produced. The second question they want to know is, can we please forecast what the next half of the year will look like based on historical data? And finally, they want to understand what is driving key problem areas such as product returns and low product sales when we have large quantities being present within the warehouse. So I'll now jump into a demo showing you how easy it is to connect to your data source, add machine learning algorithms, and visualize the data itself. Pyramid is basically split into multiple modules, starting with our modeling module, and this is actually the pro view of our modeling module. So I like to jump in this one straight away because it gives you access to all the different areas within the modeling aspects, and then you can actually set up a data transformation pipeline over here and enrich the data with machine learning. So over here, I'm going to actually connect to our SQL Server data warehouse. I'm going to choose a database. And we have a bunch of tables within our database spanning 2 years worth of transactional data. So accessing this data is usually a really tedious task if you're using other BI tools, as users aren't allowed to basically have direct access to the database. How many times have you heard, security is a real problem, we can't define who sees what, and the security within most BI tools aren't robust enough. So this leads to users receiving an Excel copy of the data on a weekly or monthly basis that they then upload into their BI tool. The Pyramid platform enables direct connection to the data source itself. Users actually you can basically, the admin of the Pyramid instance can define who sees what as a user. So you can actually define the security levels down to row level or entity level security. So you can have full access to that security feature. I've actually brought in the tables. Well, I've connected to the tables within our SQL Server over here, and I've brought in some transaction tables, some demographics tables, as well as some geographical sales tables as well. What I want to do though is I want to actually bring in a clustering algorithm to this. A lot of the times, people want to actually understand the relationships between different metrics, and I'm actually going to choose the k-means Weka clustering algorithm that is inbuilt into Pyramid, which effectively classifies data points into groups on specific table attributes. I can simply drag and drop it into the canvas, and I can define the attributes I want the algorithm to run against. Before we do this though, I just have to click on that, connect it all up, and let me just go on my sales sheet over here, access the quantity we have produced. So I actually want to run this on discount applied, unit cost, and the ordered quantity produced. And after that, I can actually preview the data, and we can see the classifications over here. So it's actually defined 3 separate clusters at this point. We can scroll down and see a preview of our data without dragging any data into the dragging any data into Pyramid itself. And we can write this back into our SQL Server by bringing in a target, connecting it all up, and defining the database we want to write it against. So let's basically call this test database 1, 2, and connect all the tables up. There we go. And you will see if we go onto our data modeling layer, you'll be able to see that it's actually created the relationships between the sales orders and all the product and dimension attributes. And this is a really awesome aspect because a lot of the times that you're not generally a data modeler, many people don't understand how to actually connect the dimensions to the facts, and this can all be done manually via our smart AI tools that are built into Pyramid themselves. Let's run this, and this will basically ingest our data back into the SQL Server. I'm just going to call this test to save our data flow. We save this, and it will take a few seconds to run this data into the database, and from that we can actually start creating our visuals immediately. Awesome. So as soon as that's done, you'll be jumped into this canvas, which is our next module that we want to actually start in our developmental flow. And this module is called Discover. This is basically where you have access to all the attributes within our database and all the facts within our database. So we can see sales data, all the facts over here, and we can actually start creating these graphs immediately. Remember the graph we just created with the machine learning k-means Weka clustering algorithm? Well, we can actually just start visualizing that now. Let's bring in sales on our x-axis and quantity on our in another column, and we can convert this into a scatter chart. So we basically have sales on our x-axis and quantity on our y-axis now, but we don't just want to see this as a whole aggregate value. We can basically define this by product itself. So we go on our product dimension, we drag this all into the detail section, and now we have the sales and quantity for each product that we're selling. Now, it is a little bit difficult to actually understand what the relationships are between these dots, right? We can't really see. We understand that these products are at the bottom, they selling a lot, they bring a lot of money into the company, whereas these products on the y-axis are actually selling a lot of quantity. So let's look at our clustering algorithm that we created, and that will be present within one of our dimensions, and we can bring this into the color aspect. And now it's actually classified the products by cluster, and we have a bit of a better idea in terms of what's going on over here. We can see that the green cluster is bringing in a lot of money into the company, and they're selling a decent amount as well. Whereas all these products labeled colored in blue, unfortunately they're not bringing a lot of money, but they're selling quite a lot. What we can also do is we can split these up and compare them against different attributes. So for instance, we have some demographic data in this in our data model, and we can basically bring in gender and define this as a comparison. So we have male and female over here, and let's just pop this on a common scale so we can see things side by side. And we basically have very similar behavior between the two different genders, but this may vary based on your specific business data and everything like that. Once we've done that, we can also define the theme of our data. So a lot of the times you want to make sure everybody's working to the same company color scheme. And for this instance, I'm choosing our 70s theme, which is old school. It's I don't know if you saw the Weeknd's album currently being released, but I quite like it, and it's got that 70s theme to it. So let's save this, and we can basically save this as a visual. So we call this visual 3. And now once we've done that, we can actually start creating our dashboards. So you can imagine a dashboard being made up of various visuals like this. And the awesome thing about Pyramid is that collaboration is super easy. Other BI tools often require you to install a copy to your local machine. The user then can create a dashboard, and then you have to upload it to the cloud. So you have to do everything on your local machine. Once all the work has been done on your local machine, you upload it to the cloud, and then you have to try and collaborate. It's usually one person creating a dashboard, and you that's how it works with most tools. But with Pyramid, collaboration is very straightforward. The whole team can work on individual elements of a dashboard. So I might do this one, whereas my colleague Mark does another, and my colleague Sarah does another, and we can all bring these into a central dashboard in a central place. Nobody has to upload data to the cloud because we've all logged into a single instance of Pyramid at the start. So that's just one point I wanted to kind of talk to you about, and let's basically bring the graph that we've just created into a dashboard that we've made. My team has actually worked on this, but I've actually contributed to this with my clustering algorithm that we just did 5 minutes ago. And all you have to do is drag it in, resize it, and now when we run our dashboard, it will all be over here. Once you've actually created all the graphs and started visualizing the elements within the dashboard and joined all the graphs up, we obviously have all the things you'd usually expect with the filtering capabilities and everything like that, and the data will change accordingly. There's some other aspects that aren't very familiar, and these are things that allow you to really analyze further. For instance, over here we have a bar graph timeline which shows us how sales have performed over the past 2 years. What you may also see is that we have a 6 month forecast on this bar graph over here. So we can see the next 6 months, what the expected sales and quantity sold will be based on how our 2 years or 24 months of historical data. The forecast behind this specific graph is called Holt Winters, which takes seasonality into account. And when I created this graph, I did this all with a single click. So I basically just went on the top ribbon, I clicked on create a forecast, and it added that forecast to my graph with a single click. And this is where the real power of data science, can be implemented into your graphs. This is how easy it is to do. You still have the ability to add your own data models and your own data science algorithms into your core data model. We obviously value the work data scientists do, but if you don't have the resource or the time to actually create those, this is an alternative method. If we scroll down and go back onto the clustering algorithm that we did, we obviously have quantity and sales split by gender. A lot of the times you might have, or a viewer of the dashboard might have another question. For this, we can actually use Analyse further. We can actually add different elements to this existing graph, all in a sandboxed way. So it won't affect anything that the actual admins or the BI developers have created for this graph. And all I have to do is right click. I click on Analyze Further, and it takes me into this light version of the graph creator, the Discover window that we just saw earlier. We also have access to our dimensions and our facts, and it obviously depends on what the viewer or what the user has access to. We might only you as an admin might define access saying, okay, we don't want them to have access to expenses or net profit, and then when they click on this won't show in the measure folder. But what we might want to visualize is how are returns affecting the quantity and the sales. And we can just drag and drop it into the size panel. And now we can see a difference, another level of insight within our graph. We obviously have, quantity and sales X and Y axis, but the size now dictates how the returns have gone. And we can see, these guys over here, they've sold a lot. They haven't brought much money into the business, mainly due to the fact that the returns are extremely high. So it's over, 90 to 60 is about 15% returns based on this product. And we can actually see the product itself. It's actually the long sleeve logo jersey. So for some reason, this one isn't performing too well on our product scale. We can save a version of this, and now as a user, I can actually save a version of this graph. I can call this Analyse Further number 5 because I've saved it a couple of times. And now, as a viewer or as a viewer license, as a viewer of the dashboard, I can actually have access to my folder structure and the individual elements and the individual graphs I've saved for myself, for my own consumption. However, it doesn't affect anything on the underlying dashboard, and that's a really awesome aspect to remember. We also have a lot of slicing and dicing functionality, and when it comes to slicing and dicing data, you don't always need to go into the more complex Analyze Further aspects. You can actually do everything on the dashboard itself. And for instance, we have a situation over here where we have some demographic metrics. And these demographic metrics basically tell us sales by income and channel. And let me just, I think my screen share is frozen for a second. Just 1 second. Let me just refresh that. Here we go. So we've got some demographic metrics. We've got income by sales channel. So we have income on the y-axis, and sales channel is currently, the actual sales is on the x-axis, split by sales channel. So we can define the income category by people shopping online and in store, all the way up to the various income categories that we have defined on our demographic data. What we can do over here is actually swap this out. So I might like the look of this graph. I might like the look of one of these attributes, but instead of seeing it by sales channel, I might want to see this and swap this out by product category. So now with a single click, we can see that, okay, we have our accessories by clothing and components categories listed by income, by income category itself. We can go back one. So we get to our normal view, and instead of having the income category, we might want sales channel by, I don't know, let's choose country, for instance. So now we have, Australia, United States, United Kingdom listed by sales channel. And the beauty about this is, it basically empowers the viewer of the dashboard, the consumer of the dashboard, to really dive deep and find answers themselves without going back and asking the BI developers to create a separate graph that looks like this. A lot of times those guys are very busy, and by the time you get your answers, the question is irrelevant. Now let's get more into the complex features Pyramid offers. And obviously we have some really pretty graphs over here. They look great. You have all the filtering capabilities by clicking on one of the attributes, everything that you would usually expect within a BI tool. But what I like to kind of showcase is this aspect over here. And we have, fortunately, within our data set, we have the reason as to why people are returning a specific product. So we have number of returns on the x-axis at the top, and on the y-axis, we have the return reason by product. The top reason for returns is people purchasing the product by mistake. And trying to find the answer to the specific point may take you hours if you don't have a feature that will basically give you the answers on the fly. Fortunately, we've just released this cool feature called Explain, and I can actually click on a data element, click on Explain, and this actually shows us where this data point lies based on other factors within our data model itself. So the reason, basically, the people purchasing a product by mistake, the main attributes on that are people going into reseller stores. They are purchasing obviously direct, and for some reason these guys are homeowners. We can see also the actual attribute not relating to resellers, so we can see, okay, are they specific customers? Are they purchasing directly from the wholesaler? And how many of those are actually getting discounts or not? And we can see the other factors over here driving the specific metric. We can also see the factors driving the specific metric in terms of the returns value. So we can see, these guys are actually returning, they're purchasing more than 2 items. They are kind of purchasing products under $238 over here. And for some reason, they're actually returning more than 3 items. So there's a bit of a discrepancy that we've identified over here. People purchasing 2 items, people returning 3 items, and it might actually, I'm making assumptions over here, but it would basically make me want to look at the actual sales data, the customers purchasing this product, to make sure that there's no fraud going on. So, there's a possibility that we've identified fraud over here. People actually, go into another shop, purchase an item, return it without a receipt, and they get more than they purchased it in the other shop for. You never know. There's just assumptions that we could make without, but it gives us a good direction in terms of what is actually going on. A couple more features before we end the session. I know we only have 20 minutes, and there's so many things to cover, but the really cool other aspect is the ability to actually type in text and use natural language querying to better understand reasons behind a specific data point. So Pyramid's natural language query chatbot allows you to actually ask questions like, why is bought by mistake? Let's see. So hi, and now obviously I'm typing in front of people, so my typing is really bad, but let's just ask this question over here. And immediately it looks at the entire datable and it says the style U is driving returns for, and then this is actually a customer ID, and bought by factor 2.4. So remember, we identified a possible area of fraud over there. If you use this in combination with our natural language query chatbot, we've actually identified an area over here that this customer is driving the returns by a factor of 2.4 versus everybody else that has returned in the past. Within this, the reseller promotion category accounts for 73% of U-style returns and 40% overall. So this basically is saying that, resellers are the people that are returning to resellers are accounting for 73% of all returns across board. And then within the reseller, the black color accounts for 47% overall. So you can say, look, the style U in the color black is driving returns in a big way. Now, as a person consuming the dashboard, I've actually found some answers to this. I actually want to set up an alert going forward to better understand if this metric goes up or down. Because now that I have some insight, I can basically take action. I can actually set up an alert simply by right-clicking, and I can say, look, alert me when up. I can make it send an email to me daily at 9 p.m. if that specific purchase is up or not. And you can imagine that this could work for anything else. For instance, if you are in a manufacturing company and suddenly your quantity produced is very low compared to the previous day, you could get an alert set up for that, and the opportunities are pretty much endless. But due to the time that we have, this is basically what I wanted to show you in this instance. I hope you enjoyed it. We covered a few key aspects, obviously adding a clustering algorithm to your data model, and then actually looking at what the viewer or consumer of a dashboard will be able to utilize in terms of features that Pyramid offers. If you have any questions, I'm sure, please do ask them at the end, but Chris Bank is going to be taking over again, and thank you so much for your time, guys.
Calvin, that was awesome. You just reinforced how we make the sophisticated simple. And, The big value proposition, as Calvin was demonstrating, is showing it as a citizen data scientist, right? Not as a pure data scientist. And hopefully we had some pure data scientists on the call as well, because there's some great things that we can do there too. Anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And if we have time to get to all the questions, we certainly will. If not, we'll follow up with you on that as well. And again, our goal with our platform is to get analytics into the hands of everybody, from the technical to the non-technical, and also to leverage all of your data. And that's one of the things that we do at Pyramid Analytics very well. In fact, we have the fastest direct querying engine in the market. We'll go toe-to-toe with any other vendor and knock your socks off with that. I see a question come in. This one is not for me. This one's going to be for Calvin for sure. As a data scientist, is it possible to leverage R or Python scripts that I've already used? Calvin?
Absolutely, that's a very good question. You obviously, a lot of the times you don't want to kind of not be able to use all the work that you've done, all the IP that you've created for your company. And this is basically how you do it. So I'm just going to jump in straight into my modeling stage. I'm going to bring in my SQL Server database again. And now at this point, you have access to all your Python scripts that you might want to bring in. I can connect this all up. You have your normal IDE that you'd usually expect. You can obviously input get your input columns from your data frame. You obviously have the output columns from that data frame and work like that. You also have a vast array of possible Python and R library predefined algorithms that you can actually add to your data sets as well. And you can also basically use your Python scripts as a scripting model. So you can use your Python script to train the data systematically. So over time, this model will be super trained, super accurate. And yes, you can basically utilize your Python. The answer is yes, you can utilize the Python scripts with ease. But that's how you do it.
Awesome. Here's another question. I think I can handle this one. Calvin showed a lot of functionality. How hard is your product to learn? And that's certainly a good question. And with our software technology, what we incorporate every time that we sell our software, we also train you on our software. So our goal is to make you self-serving, and within a week's time to get up and running and do some of the amazing things that Calvin was showing. But in addition to that, we also have an LMS available, so all online. So you can go at your own pace and go from the non-technical side of the house right to the technical side of the house. And Calvin was kind enough to bring up some of the things that are out there right now, which I appreciate. So know that that's there as well. And that's something, our goal is, we're very customer focused here at Pyramid Analytics. In fact, we have a customer first culture. And I think if you read some of the reviews from analysts like Bark, like Dresner, even in Gartner's critical capabilities report, from a technical standpoint, we're amazing, but also from a customer standpoint, we've got some of the best customer satisfaction ratings, perfect recommend scores, and it's all about you. So we want to make sure that, the investment that you make in us, we're making it right back in you to make sure that you're successful. I don't see any other questions. We'll certainly follow up if you do have any. I want to thank everybody for your time. Calvin, if you can bring me back to that call to action slide.
Absolutely.
If you want more information, certainly visit us on the web at www.pyramidanalytics.com. One of the things that we do allow you to do is choose your own adventure in what you'd like to pursue. And if you'd like to see a one-day data to insights demonstration, which is leveraging your data actually at no cost, if you give us a call or reach out to us on the web, and we'll take some sample data from you and then create some insights that hopefully we can leverage and share something that you didn't even know what's going on with your data. If you'd like to schedule a one-on-one demo, that's something that we can certainly do as well. And there are 3 analyst reports that are available for free. You can download them and just click on that. All 3 adventures are right up on our website, and feel free to knock yourself out on that and choose whatever adventure that you would like. But on behalf of Pyramid Analytics, we'd like to thank you for your time today. And certainly if you want any more information, feel free to connect with us through the web or through the Q&A or chat. And we're looking forward to talking to you soon. Thank you for your time today.